Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. I'm your host, Zoe. I'm a certified professional life coach, serial entrepreneur, verified YouTuber, and published author. On this podcast, you can expect actionable tips, reflections, and inspiration to live your best, most fulfilling life. So, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Note to Self. Today, I'm super excited to be coming at you because we've got another list of book recommendations. These are the books that I read in Q2 of 2022. So, from April to June, these are the titles which I consumed. So, I'm just going to go in order of which they're on my list here, which means the order of which I read them. And just to introduce this, there are quite a few books on the subject of wealth consciousness and money mindset because this has been something that has felt like such a desire for me to learn more about and uncover more. And as you know, if you've been tuning into the podcast regularly, this is something that I speak about often. And I've recently come into a lot of major up levels in my life in regards to finances and wealth. And I'm putting together a 2-day masterclass on everything that I've been learning around the energetics of money. And that's going to be at the end of the month, and it's completely free. So there's going to be an opt-in in the show notes, and I highly encourage you to opt in. We're really going to be diving into all things money and prosperity and feeling your most abundant self. So the Abundance Embodied live stream is what I'm calling it, and it will get you tapped in and elevated to your next level. So be sure to sign up in the link in the show notes. And let's get into it. So the first title that I read at the beginning in April was The Richest Man in Babylon. And this is an older book that I read on Kindle. It was recommended. I found the recommendation on YouTube under like someone's video around the best books that they've read on wealth consciousness. And I thought that this book was really interesting because it was a storybook filled with wisdom. And it kind of reminded me of The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho in the sense that you get a storybook, but you also get these amazing quotes and these amazing life lessons in that style of book too, and one that is set in the past. So that was The Richest Man in Babylon. The next book that I read is Rich as Fuck by Amanda Frances. So this book, I have the physical copy, which I read before, but I actually consumed the audiobook version in this last quarter. And it's an incredible listen. Like, I really love Amanda Frances and her messages around money and wealth and prosperity consciousness. So, yeah, I listened to Rich as Fuck, and it was awesome to have on in the background, like while I was puttering around the house, preparing meals, doing any type of admin work. So, I definitely encourage those of you out there who like audiobooks, or maybe even you haven't tried them before, is just to put them on in the background when you're doing day-to-day tasks, because even if you can't pay full focused attention to it, I always find that I pick up little nuggets that I need in that time. The next book that I listened to again is The Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. This is another one that I've come back to multiple times. Neville Goddard is an old school like wealth and law of attraction teacher, and his content's absolutely incredible. There are quite a few audio books of his on Audible, and every single one that I've read, I've always picked up new and amazing information. And his content is the type of books that, what I found anyways, is that I invest in, and I can listen to them over and over and over again, and I always learn new things depending on which level of consciousness I'm at. So highly recommend Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard and any content by him. The next book that I read is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And this is a book that I've never read before. I listened to this on Audible, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. I definitely learned some things around money mindset, and it was pretty cool too how the book sort of goes through a story time as well. The next book that I read was The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And this is another old school teacher in regards to money, prosperity, law of attraction type type of energy. And this was my first time reading The Science of Getting Rich, but I know that I will definitely be revisiting this book probably in this next quarter as well, because there was so much to be learned from it. The next book that I read was Girl on Fire. And this was a quick audiobook that I purchased, and it was really great. I was on holiday in Komodo when I listened to it, and it was just like a nice beach listen, super empowering. So yeah, Girl on Fire. The next book, another money book. This one is Happy Pocket Full of Money. So, Happy Pocket Full of Money is one that I've heard about for probably maybe a couple of years, but I actually hadn't read it myself. It was just sort of circulating. But naturally, books find you in the perfect divine time. And that's what I can say about this book, is that I felt like and do feel like Happy Pocket Full of Money is the best book that I've ever read on money. And the reason why I say that is because it encompasses a lot of different learnings and teachings, which I have fully prescribed to. For example, quantum physics and how you are the creator of your own reality and the power of imagination, and a lot of like Neville Goddard's teachings. I felt like Happy Pocket Full of Money really tied everything together. And I love this audiobook so much that I actually downloaded the physical copy, and I'm presently reading it on my Kindle right now. So again, this is a book that I will continuously come back to. That's one thing I do like to think about in regards to getting books on Audible, is that I want to invest in audiobooks that I know that I'll re-listen to over and over again. So for example, these wealth consciousness books versus fiction or storybooks that I feel like I would much rather enjoy reading on the Kindle, as they're an adventure that I might experience only once, versus something with a lot of key insights and valuable teachings that I can just play on the background, or if I'm cruising around, just thinking in terms of future Zoe and what might benefit her. The next book that I listened to was Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And again, this was a new read for me. It's something that I've heard about, and it's definitely a classic, but I personally hadn't read it. And a lot of amazing insights from that one as well. Would highly recommend it. I also listened to The Little Book of Successful Secrets by Justin Perry and Costa Sari. And that one was really great because I have followed Justin Perry like on YouTube. He has the YouTube channel You Are Creators since the beginning of my YouTube journey. So it was just really great to listen to successful secrets of his. I also listened to 222 Prosperity Affirmations. This was an audiobook that he had as well. And The Mind of Money by Justin Perry and others. He just sort of put together a lot of the key content from authors like Wallace D. Wattles into an audiobook. So Justin Perry, if you guys are familiar with him from Your Creators, like definitely a really great law of attraction influencer, someone who's got a lot of inspiring videos on his channel. But in regards to his audiobooks, they're actually all quite affordable on Audible. And again, just like, for example, 222 Prosperity Affirmations, that's something that you could so easily purchase and listen to over and over again. You could even listen to it while you're falling asleep and program those affirmations or belief systems into your subconscious. So definitely recommend checking those out. And the next book that I actually listened to this one in India, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. This is one that I've listened to before, and it was really fun to revisit it because it'd been a few years. Jen Sincero, she's also the author of You Are a Badass, which I believe is even more well known than You Are a Badass at Making Money. It came first anyways. And that book changed my life in so many ways. I felt like You're a Badass was like a friend for me. That book was a friend and support system for me in a time when I didn't really feel like I had that. And that was in that chapter, which I've spoken to on this podcast before I moved to Rome, Italy. And I didn't really feel like I had the people in my life that I was desiring to have. And so this book actually brought me a lot of comfort. I used to re-listen to it all the time. And Jen Sincero, she narrates her own books on Audible, so that's always really great to listen to her. She's got some great story times in her books mixed with some great wisdom. So, yeah, it's just a really easy feel good listen. And then the next two books on this list, the final two books on this list, are fiction books. And I read these while I was in my Panchakarma in India when I was detoxing. So naturally, I was having a lot of those detox symptoms. So I was lying down. I wasn't feeling too great. And so I definitely got lost in these two books. So Where the Crawdads Sing, I know this is actually going to become a movie soon, which looks incredible. So I'm happy that I got to read the book before that happens. But this book, so incredibly visual, so well written, really a page turner. I highly, highly recommend it. Just so incredibly beautiful. And then the next one is The Paper Palace. This was recommended to me by my friend Sophie because I was looking for another page turner to read, and it certainly was a page turner. Very suspenseful. So if you're looking for page turners and you don't mind things that are thrillers or feeling thrillery. Sometimes I don't like to read books that are thrillers or a bit scary, but honestly, Verity that I mentioned in the Q1 book list, that's the scariest book that I've ever read. And I don't want to go that that far into scary books ever again. But these two were both suspenseful, not too much, but definitely took you on an adventure. So those are the books that I read in Q2. And let me know if you guys have any recommendations for me. Please send me a DM on Instagram. I hope that this inspired some reading for you in the next months ahead. And please join the masterclass that I have going on at the end of the month. That will be in the link in the show notes. I can't wait to see you there. Lots of abundance to share. So have a beautiful day. I will talk to you very soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to Note to Self. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by rating and reviewing this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If my energy is resonating with you and you feel the call to work with me, there are an abundance of ways to do so. I offer one-to-one life coaching programs, mastermind containers, and DIY courses, all of which are available through my website, zoearielpoulsen.com. Until next time, take note of all the abundance that surrounds you as you make the most of this game called life.